Hi everyone, this is Mondan. In today's video, we are going to see what is variables inside the Golang and what are the different ways you can use the variables inside the Go language. When you talk about the variables in Golang, there are two main points that I'm going to discuss here. One is statically typed, another one is type inference. In general, statically typed for the variable, it means that whenever you have the variable, you definitely need to mention the type of that variable. That means that what type of data that you are going to hold into that variable. And after the type inference, sometimes you may not mention the type of that variable, but the given value will be inferred by the Golang. Based on the given value, it will assign the type of that variable. So that is called type inference. So more than talking, we will understand each and every possibility inside the variables. Just jump into the Visual Studio Code. This is the same program that we have seen in the previous video. A package main and import fmt just to print the statement. And we have a lot of possibilities that we are going to discuss here. We will go one by one. The first one, only declaration. So that means that you are going to declare the variable. Whenever you have the declaration, so it should be having the var keyword. That means that you are going to use as a variable. Then you will be giving the name of that variable. In this case, it is the name itself. Then after you are giving the type of that variable. So in this case, you are confirming that you are statically typed. That means that you already defined what type of data that will be inside the name. But you have not given any value by yourself. So just try to execute the same thing and we will see what it is. Hello, and the name variable value will be printed here and then arrow marks. So I purposely put the arrow marks here just to see if you have some null values or spaces. Just go to the same terminal and we will execute run main.go, enter. Sorry, I missed the go here. So go run main.go, enter. Here you can see, actually whenever you mention something in the print statement with comma, that means that it will be concatenated with the spaces. Now you can see hello having one space. Then after you will be having another space, which means that the value of currently name has spaces. Why? Because we have not given any value. There is a 0 value for every type. That means that in case of integer, it can be 0. In case of float, it can be 0.0. In case of string, it's a simple space. So that's the reason you are seeing one space just to concatenate. Another space is for the name variable. After that, we have the arrow symbol so that we can see what is happening in this output. So this is only the declaration that we have understood. The next one. So before proceeding, we will just comment this one so that we will have a clear output. So next one, declaration and initialization. So that means that here I am not only mentioning the variable with the declaration with the var keyword and the type, I am also giving the variable value itself. So in this case, it is the string and it has the value of Mugundan. Just save it and we will execute the same code again. Here you can see now the value is Mugundan and you can clearly see the values are separated with the spaces inside the print statement. So now we have seen another way. Just I will comment this one. Next we will see the another way. Sometimes you don't need to mention the type of variable when you have the value itself. For example, here you have the string value and if you have not mentioned string here, that means that Golang will understand what type of data you are assigning. It is a string type, so it will assign the type of variable name as string. So let's see this whether it is happening or not. Just save it and still it works in the same way as before. For just testing purpose, I will change something new so that you will have a different output. Just save it and we will run the same thing. Enter and you can see the output. That means that you don't need to mention the variable type if you have already the value. So that means that based on the value, it will infer the type. Okay, I will comment this one. This is one possibility. So another possibility, shorthand syntax. So that means that rather than using the var keyword and let's say the type, those many things, you can directly create a variable and you can assign the variable there itself by using the walrus operator. So in generally they will call it as a walrus operator, or you can here it is considered as a assignment operator. The colon followed by the equal symbol. So here you can see I am doing the same thing. Here I will do just walrus. So I will just execute the same thing again and let's see. You can see the output. So that means that this way also you can use it. But one condition here is you can use the shorthand syntax inside the functions, but not outside all the functions. That means that if you use in the main or if you use out of all the functions, it will not work. So that we will see in the last. But however, the shorthand syntax is not allowed at global level. So what is global level? So if it is out of all the functions, that is a global level. If it is inside of the function, it is a local level. Simple as it is. So just I will comment this one as well. And next one, multiple declaration. So what do you mean by multiple declaration? So that means that here I am not only mentioning one variable, I am mentioning two variables followed by comma. Then at last I will be mentioning the type of that variable. So in that case, I will add one more thing, place followed by comma. However, I have declared only, I have not given any value to that, but I have mentioned the statically typed. So that means that I have mentioned the type of that variables. Now I will execute this one and let's see. Here we will get one space for the concatenation and another two spaces for the two values, which is for name and place. Multiple declaration with values. So that means that you are mentioning multiple variables and with the type of that variable, and you are mentioning the values for that. So this is also one more possibility. We'll execute here. So for just testing, I will mention here 2 and India 2, so that you will not get confused whether it is giving from previous one or not, even though it is commented. Here you can see the same output. Okay, we are getting the name and place. So this is one possibility, multiple declaration and initialization both. And next one, type inference. You have multiple variables, but you are not mentioning the type of that variable. But based on the value that you are giving, it will infer the type and it will assign to the variable's name and place. Okay, fine. So we will execute same thing, but this time I will add some more number. So 99 and 88. Execute and you will get the output as it is. Okay, fine. So that means that multiple declaration with the type inference. Fine, it is working. Next one, what we are going to see is multiple variables with shorthand syntax. So here something interesting that we are going to see. Here you are creating the variable and assigning the variable at once by providing the values to that. But here we are using the shorthand syntax. So that means that we are using the walrus or assignment operator. Let's try this. Here you can see it is assigning properly. And another catchy point is, let's say when you are again using the walrus operator, so you should be having at least one minimum new value. For example, here I am using the name and marks is the new, right? So however, marks can be integer, but here I am using the string. But you can clearly see here name is already existing, but I am trying to recreate. So which is not allowed if you are using both as the new variables. Okay, rather than speaking, we will understand. Here you can clearly see name is the existing variable and marks is the new variable, correct? So I'm trying to execute this one and let's see what happens. So here I will tell re. So what is the value that you are going to get? We will see. So we have name and marks, right? So marks I am not using, so it will give the error. First we will understand what the error we are going to get. So let's execute. You will get the error like marks is declared but not used. So in that way, Golang will confirm that whenever you are just creating or using the variable, that should be used anywhere. If it is, it will give some errors. Sorry, my mistake. If it is not used, it will give some error. So that's why you have created the marks, but you have not used. So that's why you are getting marks declared but not used. Okay, fine. So for that, I will add that marks as well, just to use, and I will use the comma. Let's execute the same code and we will see the same output. So that means that this is like a creating and assigning, right? So you are using one new variable at least so that you will work in the correct way. But what happens, let's say the second line. So here both are existing values. Name and marks already it's existing. Still you are just trying to recreate, right? So let's execute and see what happens for this. And how I will give this into question mark, sorry, double quotes. You will get no new variables on left side of walrus operator or the assignment operator. So that means that you need to have at least one minimum new variable left side of the walrus or assignment operator. Since these both variables are old variables, so it will give errors to you. Okay, let's say what happens. I will comment this line. Okay, now you have existing variable name and place. Now new variable marks is being introduced in the third line. But instead of string, because when you create, it will be assigned to directly to the type on the, I mean, based on the type of that value, right? So let's see what happens. Here you can see still it works. If you infer the type of this marks, it will be the integer. Why? Because we have given the integer type. Okay, fine. So we have understood the main point here is when you have the multiple variable declaration with the shorthand syntax, on the left hand side, you should be having at least one new variable. If it is not there, you will get an error. Okay, the next concept that we are going to see is multiple variables with shorthand syntax and reassignment. So what does it mean is whenever you are using some, let's say, just use this one, shorthand assignment, then I am going to use for reassignment. So just we will make sure previous one is all commented, all the lines are commented. So here we have multiple variables and getting assigned with shorthand syntax and giving the variables values. So based on the value, it will infer the type. So that name will be string type and place will be the string type, which will be having the Mugundan and USA respectively. But if you want to reassign, you will use directly the equal symbol rather than the walrus operator or the assignment operator again. You will use the walrus or the assignment operator only in the starting time. After that, you never use the equals. I mean, you never use the walrus operator. You will use only the equal symbol. So before this, I will just comment this one and execute. So currently we don't have the mark, so I will remove them as well. Fine, save it. Go to the console, clear it, enter, and you can see name and the place. But however, I can reassign by using the equal symbol. Save it and just run it again. So now it will change to UK. So this is the way you can reassign. So you cannot again assign the value. So that is another point. Just I will try to use the walrus or the assignment operator for the same variable that has been created with the shorthand syntax already or which is already existing. So just run it again. You will be getting the error like no new variables on the left hand side. So that means that whenever you use the assignment operator or the walrus operator on the left hand side, at least you should have one minimum new variable. So in this case, we have only one that also having the existing value, right? So that's the reason we will be getting the error. Fine. So we have understood. So we can reassign the value by using the equal symbol, but we will use the walrus operator or the assignment operator only in the starting time. Fine. So we have cleared this one. Next one. So sometimes you may be having the different kinds of variables with the values directly. So that time you may not be interested just to write the keyword called where, or you can have the different kinds of syntax, something like this. So where with brackets. So here you can see. So I'm going to create the different set of variables by using the parentheses. Inside the parentheses, I will be mentioning the names for that. So let's see, because I'm directly creating like this. So let's, if it is working or not, we will see it, save it and just run it. Now you can fingers crossed. So it will work. Why? Because when you use the where with parentheses, you don't need to use, let's say, walrus operator or assignment operator. Directly you can mention the variable and the value itself. So based on that, it will work. This is also another way of making the variables for the long list. Okay, fine. So we will just check it. The name and place is coming correctly. Yes, it's coming correctly. And the last one, type of variable. So whenever you have some variable, you may want to check whether what type of variable it is. There are other modules, there reflect module, but that we are going to see in the coming videos. But for this video, just to see the type of that variable, we will understand what is the type by using the formatting. So formatting will have the %t, which will give the type of that variable. So you need to pass the variable here. So for that reason, just I will enable this variable. So already we have the variable. Okay, fine. So I just want to see the type of that variable. And after that, I will be printing that name and place. So just go to this terminal, type, enter, and you can see the name type. I mean the variable of variable name type is string. So that means that the type of the name variable is string that you can see here. Then after you need to print the next line character because it is a formatting. You will not have any next line entering. So for that reason, I'm just putting the next line character. Then you will be printing the name and place. Okay, we are getting the name and place correctly. So, okay, fine. So we will go to the top and we will understand. So shorthand syntax is not allowed at the global level, that we will confirm. Here you can see. So I am going to have one shorthand syntax for the string called variables. Just I will include here because at the global level, that means that it is outside of all the functions which is available for all the functions. So for that reason, I will just use topic and use comma, save it and try to execute. Here I can see non-declaration statement outside function body. So that means that we are not allowed to use the shorthand syntax outside the functions. Okay, so what about other declaration? Something like we will check some random values. So where topic string variables, whether it is allowed. Let's see. Yes, it's allowed. That means that you can use the normal way of declaring and giving the initial values. Where topic and let's see type inferring has been happening or not, you can see here. So the topic has been used inside the function and it has been taken. Now we will just see what type of topic it is. Instead of name, I will change it to topic. This is just a print statement and I will give the topic variable. So that you should be seeing the topic type is, I mean the name variable topic type is, it should be integer, right? So save it and go there and execute again. Here you can see it's the type of int. In coming videos, however, we will be seeing the type of, data types in detail. But for simplicity, we have seen the string type and integer type, which is the very common types used across the programming language. But there are a lot of other data types available in the Golang that we are going to see sooner. So these are the possible ways that you can use the variables. But if you see all these various kinds, you can clearly understand any one point of time or any place, whatever the type you are using the variables, you will be using or you will be intimating the variable or the Golang which type of data it is. So that means that we are always statically typed. So wherever you see which type you are seeing any type, that will be any one place, it will be having the hint that what type of data it is. Either it can be only the declaration or it can be the shorthand syntax, or it can be like with the type inference. Wherever you go, at last the variable should be having the type of data what it is going to hold. At the same time, Golang strictly confirms that if you are using some variables, or let's say if you are initializing or declaring some variables, definitely you should be using, otherwise the compile time will give the error. So this is another advantage, so that you will not have any unnecessary variables inside your programming. So this is about variables. So thanks for watching and have a great day.